Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz, and today I've got another horror watch list update for you. I'll be going over all the horror movies I've watched in the last week or so, including a few new 4K pickups among those. So I'll be giving you my thoughts on those new 4Ks as well. So let's just get right into it and rock this. All right, so if you've been following along on the channel, you know that I've been working on a 31 days of horror marathon where my goal has been to watch a minimum of at least 31 horror movies in 31 days. Now, as of last week's update video, I had watched a total of 28 horror movies at that point. Now, since then, I've been able to watch an additional 12 horror movies. So adding that to my running total, I now have a grand total of 40 horror movies that I've been able to watch so far this month. So I've already surpassed my my minimum goal for the month, but of course my personal goal was to try and see how many horror movies beyond that 31 I could cram into the month. You know, we've got a few days left in the month, so not a whole lot of time. I'm definitely running out of time, so we'll see how my totals end up when all is said and done. But I think I've had a pretty successful month so far. It seems like I'm on track to watch more horror movies this year than I watched last year when I was doing this challenge, but maybe not quite as many as I watched during previous years before that. All right, so today I'm covering the period between October 19th and October 26th. So starting off with October 19th, I was able to watch one movie that day, and honestly, I wasn't feeling all that adventurous that day. I just wanted something I was ultra familiar with. I wanted a comfort movie that I could just chill out on and not have to think about too hard. So I chose The Thing from 1982. Now, I've talked about this movie on the channel many times before, so I'm not really going to say a whole lot here today other than just to remind people this is a stunning looking 4K. I think it's a demo-worthy, you know, some would argue a reference quality 4K. So if you don't own this one, you should definitely get it in your collection if you're a fan. But other than that, usually I watch this movie about once a year, and I'm kind of early this year. Usually I save this one for the winter months, like, you know, December, January, somewhere in there. But I do usually watch it at least once a year, sometimes more. I just love this one. It's such a killer movie. You just can't go wrong with the performances in this movie, especially from Kurt Russell. So I just felt like watching this one a little bit earlier this year than I usually do. And of course, I always have a great time with this one. What else can you really say about a classic like this? You know, this one really is like a giant in my mind. You know, certainly John Carpenter's best film. So yeah, I guess that's about all I can really say. The Thing. Okay, and then next up for October 20th, I was still in the mood for comfort movies, right? I wasn't in the mood to be challenged with a new horror movie that I'd never seen before. So I went with, you know, my monthly viewing of Alien, which I talk about endlessly on the channel. So I apologize for you, you longtime viewers who have to hear me always bring this film up, but it's what I watched. You know, so I got to mention it, right? So I'm not going to say much here. Of course, those of you who know me, this is my favorite film, and I do tend to watch it usually about once a month, sometimes a little bit more. It really just depends. This is my go-to comfort movie. As far as I'm concerned, it's the perfect movie. It just is. So yeah, always love returning to Alien. So yeah, Alien. All right, moving right along to October 21st. I was able to watch one movie that day as well, and the movie I chose was a Sam Raimi film that I've had in my collection for a while, but I've never gotten around to checking it out. I think I bought this like a year ago, and or almost a year ago, and just had never watched it. And so it was like I mean, it was a blind buy. So I hadn't seen it before, so I didn't know what I was in for, but I bought it because it was a Sam Raimi film. So I figured, you know, it's probably about time that I actually watched this movie that I bought some time ago. So now this one, I don't know if I would consider it an overtly horror film. You know, it's a Scream Factory release, but it feels more like a kind of a mystery thriller. Right? I mean, I suppose it has some horror elements in it, but yeah, it felt much more like a mystery thriller. But it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's basically about a woman with psychic abilities, played by Kate Blanchett, who is trying to basically solve this missing persons case, this disappearance, and that's all I'll say about it. If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. And the mystery element of the whole thing is part of the fun, of course. So, but yeah, I enjoyed this one. It wasn't a new pickup for me. Like I said, I've had it for a little while now, but it was a new watch for me. I had not seen this film before, and I very much enjoyed it. So, if you haven't seen The Gift and you're a fan of Sam Raimi, yeah, check it out. And then next up for October 22nd, I was able to watch two movies that day, and I decided to go ahead and keep the Sam Raimi groove going here. This was a new pickup on 4K, Drag Me to Hell from, what is this, 2009? Yeah, it looks like 2009. And this one I really enjoyed. This was a fun movie. It had my attention right away. It was compelling. It drew me right in, and it had my interest the whole time. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Now, I ended up getting the 4K Steelbook here because I thought the art looked pretty cool. And I guess I should show you that real quick here. So there's our front there, but the back's pretty cool too. Check that out. Yeah, so, Scream Factory, they put out some nice looking steelbooks. I dig that about Scream Factory. Yeah, the artwork always looks pretty cool. At least I think so. Well, I shouldn't say always. There's been a few duds that I didn't think looked that great, but they do often have some really cool looking artwork on their steelbooks. I would say more often than not. So, with Scream Factory and Shout Factory releases combined. And it's a great looking 4K as well. This was a blind buy. I had never seen this one before. So I can't really, compare it to previous releases, but it looked great to me. And yeah, it was just an entertaining horror film. So I actually like this one more than The Gift, but admittedly, they're completely different types of films from Sam Raimi. He's pretty diverse that way. His styles, he can operate in multiple different modes. He actually has quite a bit of range and depth as a director, and I very much appreciate that about Sam Raimi. So yeah, this one was a lot of fun, very entertaining movie. So if you haven't seen it, check it out from 2009, Drag Me to Hell. Okay, and then also on October 22nd, I watched the 1987 film Cellar Dweller. This was a first-time watch for me. I actually have it as part of I've owned it for a little while as part of this Arrow Video Enter the Video Store Empire of Scream set, but I'd only watched like 2 of the 5 movies in here, so I figured, I probably should check out some of these others in there as well. And I gotta say, this one was a lot of fun. It's like kind of like a lower budget B drive-in movie, like an old school drive-in movie, that kind of style. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was entertaining. And so I won't say much about the story, but it was one that I was glad that was in my collection. I bought this Arrow set, year and a half, 2 years ago now? I think it was a couple years now. And so I'd just been sitting on these other movies in the set that I hadn't seen. I think the only 2 I had watched were Dolls and Robot Jocks, which, that's the reason I bought this set, was for the 2 Stuart Gordon movies in it. That's why I got it in the first place. I really wanted Dolls and I really wanted Robot Jocks, but I wasn't even familiar with the other movies in here. So, but yeah, this was very entertaining. I had a good time with this one, and yeah, I can definitely recommend it if you've never seen it. That is assuming you're okay with lower budget cheesy B movies, right? It's kind of a cool creature flick. Although it does have some other supernatural horror elements mixed in there as well. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got a kick out of this one. It was totally entertaining. So yeah, Cellar Dweller. All right, and moving on to October 23rd, I was able to watch 3 horror movies on that day, starting with the 1978 film Piranha, directed by Joe Dante. I've got the Scream Factory 4K here, which I've had for a few years now. I think this came out about maybe 3 years ago, something like that. And it's a great looking 4K, as you might expect. Usually Scream Factory 4Ks look awesome, right? I don't know if I've ever seen one that actually looks bad. I mean, the transfers look great with Scream Factory, and that definitely applies here to Piranha. But I love films like this. In this case, fish with teeth that will eat you alive. Yeah, you gotta love stuff like that. And they're actually pretty generous with the piranha action and the piranha kills in this movie. You actually do get quite a bit of great piranha action. Yeah, this is a fun one. I've seen it probably, I don't know, a few times in my life. I seem to remember seeing this one, when I was young, at some point, or at least seeing part of it at one point. And it kind of stuck with me over the years. But I don't think I ever, when I was a kid, I don't think I ever watched the whole movie in its entirety, right? So I didn't see the whole movie in its entirety until I was an adult, till just a few years ago. But I love it. It's a great film. It's a lot of fun as far as horror creature flicks go. It's a fun film with lots of piranha action. So yeah, Piranha. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate those notifications as well. I recommend selecting all on the notifications so you can always be alerted whenever I'm posting videos that you might be interested in. But also, don't forget to like the video as well, and maybe even leave a comment if you're feeling so inclined. The YouTube algorithm really likes it when you engage the channel in that way, and it tends to reward the channel with greater visibility. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Okay, and then also on October 23rd, I was able to get a classic in, one that I absolutely love. I'm a big fan of this franchise, Phantasm. Watched the first Phantasm movie, and I always love returning to this one. I like all of them. Well, for the most part. I mean, some of the later ones aren't nearly as good as like the first two, but I do like this franchise. I think it's a whole lot of fun. It's a good kind of almost like a genre mashup franchise. I mean, it's definitely squarely in horror, but it brings in elements from other like subgenres as well. And I just love that about this franchise, this film and this franchise. You get a little bit of everything with Phantasm, right? It's not just strictly horror. You get a little action in there. You get your thrills in there. There's some supernatural stuff in there. You get a little sci-fi in there. You even get a little bit of like slice of life drama in there as well. It's just a really cool mashup of different genres, all kind of rolled into one great little Don Coscarelli masterpiece. Well, I don't know. Maybe some of you out there wouldn't necessarily consider this a masterpiece. Maybe that particular wording is a little bit too strong of a characterization for this for a franchise like this. But I do love this franchise. I think it's a whole lot of fun. In a way, it's kind of a gateway franchise for me. It kind of was one of the early franchises that got me further into horror. So I think it'll always hold a special place in my heart for that reason. Now, as a side note, this is a franchise that I would love to see get a 4K release here in the U.S. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but we know there are 4K scans out there of at least the first two films. So I would hope at some point we would actually get the entire franchise in 4K, or at least the first two films, which are my two favorites. I actually like the second film more than the first one, just as another little side note there. But yeah, the first two are my favorites out of the whole franchise. But I have this in two different Blu-ray sets. Initially, I picked up this Arrow video, like streamlined Arrow video set, because at the time, Arrow Video, I saw they had this cool Sphere collection, but it was, I bought it probably when I first got back into collecting, or early on when I first got back into collecting a few years back. And so I was just looking to save some money. I remember the Arrow Sphere collection. It seemed like it was too out of reach for me. It seemed like the price was a little too high. So I tried to save some money by getting this streamlined Arrow video set that just had the movies. It didn't include the bonus disc with the feature-length documentaries. It only included just the straight 5 movies. But I liked it because you get each of them in individual cases. That's what this came from. And of course, you get the original artwork as well. It's actually reversible. You get both new artwork like this that all match this style on the other side of the inserts there, or you can have them like I have them and have the original artwork for each of them. In fact, I'll show you that real quick. Like there's Phantasm too, right? So I love that about this Arrow set. But then after I bought this, I think it was about maybe a year and a half later, and I remember it was on Father's Day. I noticed that the Well Go USA Sphere collection, which I have here behind me here, was on sale for like a really good price. I don't remember what it was. It might have been, $50 or $60 or something like that. And so I was like, all right. And I had just gotten a gift card that day as like a Father's Day present. So I used my gift card and I double dipped for Phantasm. And the reason I did that is because not only did I want that cool sphere, right? Which I don't know. Have I shown you guys that before? Hang on here. I mean, you probably noticed it in the background, but I'll show it up a little closer there. Of course, you'll see my reflection of the room here there, but and it came with a little stand too, so it sits on it, kind of cool. Yeah, cool stuff, right? And of course, the sphere came in this box set here, which was like it was in that. Right. And I like the artwork on here. So I've saved the box, all this time. But the reason I got it was because the Well Go USA collection had the bonus disc. And it was sometime after I purchased the Arrow set that I kind of started to regret not getting a more complete set that had that bonus disc with those feature-length documentaries. Specifically, the documentary Phantasmagoria, which is excellent. It covers the making of the first 4 films. And then that bonus disc also has an additional documentary, like the making of the 5th film. And it's like both of them are feature-length documentaries. Even the making of the 5th film is just it's a feature-length documentary dedicated to the making of that film. So I ultimately ended up double dipping for the entire Phantasm franchise so that I could feel like I had a more complete Phantasm experience going on in my collection. When I first bought the more streamlined Arrow set that this one came out of, I didn't care that much back then about special features and documentaries as much. But over the last few years, as I've kind of evolved as a collector, I realize I love making of documentaries, and especially if they're really long feature-length making of documentaries. All right, so enough of me rambling about Phantasm. It was a blast returning to this one. So Phantasm. Okay, and then the last film I watched on October 23rd was a new 4K pickup and a film I had not seen before, just a fairly new film too, a 2024 film, The Substance. I had heard people talking about this one, and I heard it was pretty intense and pretty over the top. So I wasn't even sure if it would be my cup of tea or not. But I happened to notice my wife was streaming it last week, and I liked what I saw on the screen. It immediately caught my attention, and so I just went and bought it, and I loved it. I thought it was a really cool movie, but it is pretty nuts. And if you're not a fan of body horror, then you might want to stay away from this one. But if you like body horror, this might be right up your alley. It's got some crazy stuff in it, especially at the end of the movie. It's just completely bonkers and off the wall. And I don't want to say too much about the movie because with this one in particular, I recommend going in as cold as possible. Don't read up too much into it. I can give you the basic premise here and kind of set the stage for you a little bit. Basically, what we're dealing with here is an aging actress played by Demi Moore, which, I mean, that alone was kind of interesting because I hadn't personally seen her in anything in a long time. So that was kind of cool, seeing Demi Moore in something again. I mean, she's probably done other stuff that I just haven't personally seen, but I wasn't aware of that stuff. So, but anyway, she's an aging actress who is having a hard time with the fact that she's past her prime. Let's just put it that way. And she ends up hearing about and coming into contact with a new substance that will, let's say, give you a new lease on life. Right. And give you a new perspective on things. And that's all I'll say about this one, because I do think you're better off just going into this as cold as possible and just letting it take you on the ride that it's going to take you on. There's definitely some mystery and some suspense in there, but it's also kind of quirky at the same time. And you got Dennis Quaid in this one too, who plays a total slime ball. It was actually really cool to see him in this role. It was different than what I'm used to with Dennis Quaid. So if you haven't seen The Substance, I highly recommend it, provided that you have a fairly strong stomach and can handle body horror. So yeah, The Substance. All right, and then on October 24th, I was able to watch one movie that day, and that one movie was Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, 1991. Interestingly enough, this was the first time I ever saw this movie. Right, I'd seen the other ones before, but I had never seen this one. Even though I owned it on Blu-ray, I had just never gotten around to watching my Blu-ray before. So this was a first-time viewing, watching Freddy's Dead, and I got to say, I didn't really like it that much. It's definitely the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie out of the bunch, I think, or at least of the ones I've seen of this set. Right, so yeah, I didn't really care for it that much. I was waiting for it to be over. Although there was a key redeeming quality in Freddy's Dead for me, and that was Yaphet Kotto. I was stunned that Yaphet Kotto was in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I wondered, how much did they have to pay him, to get a serious actor like that to show up in a Freddy movie. So, and he was great in it. I mean, he was probably one of the best things about that movie. In fact, he was the best thing about that movie for me, because I'm a big Yaphet Kotto fan. So that was kind of surprising. I wasn't expecting that, but aside from that, it was pretty cheesy. Not the greatest Nightmare movie by any stretch. But the 4K looks solid. I mean, it's a great looking 4K. So far, all of the 4Ks in this set have looked great. Actually, I watched them all now, but I'll get to my next entry here in a second where I talk about New Nightmare. But they all look good in this set. So no complaints about the 4K transfer at all. Now, I don't personally think Freddy's Dead looked as good as some of the other movies in this set. I still think Dream Master may be the best looking one out of the set, but 2, 3, 4, and 5 all look incredible. Well, actually 1 through 5 all look incredible on 4K. So, and since I've got the Nightmare set up here, I'll move on to October 25th. I was able to watch 2 movies that day, and the first movie I watched that day was Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994. That's a good movie. I like that one. I thought it was clever what they did with it, what Wes Craven did with that one. It's fun. Now, the 4K looks solid. Certainly no complaints about the 4K at all. I don't think it's necessarily the best one of the bunch in this set, but it still looked solid. I mean, all of these 4Ks look really solid. So I still think 1 through 5 look a little bit better. But I did enjoy returning to this one. It wasn't a first time watch for me. This one I had definitely seen before, and I had fun with it. So Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And then also on the 25th, I just had to revisit this ultra cheesy, but in my view, really fun movie. And I'm talking about Jaws 3, or as we used to call it back in the 80s, Jaws 3D. And, this one I love. I think this one's a whole lot of fun. I know it's really cheesy. I know the 3D looks like crap. The 3D looks really bad. And I seem to remember us thinking it was absurd even at the time when this movie first came out. I used to watch this movie on cable TV back in the day, and, always had fun with this one. There is some nostalgia, obviously, attached to my personal feelings on this movie. I like the first 3 Jaws movies. I never saw the 4th one, but I like the first 3, and this one's a lot of fun. I love Dennis Quaid. Again, he's in this one, of course, with Louis Gossett Jr. But I'll be the first to admit this is not the greatest movie out there. It definitely has some flaws. But I always have a blast with it, and there are definitely some childhood memories for me personally attached to it. So it's a good one. Jaws 3. All right, and then finally, for October 26th, I was able to watch one movie that day, and it's a brand new 4K release, just came out last week. It's a William Friedkin film. I'm talking about Rampage, and this is one I've been waiting for to be released on 4K for like 2 years now. I mean, Kino Lorber originally announced it a couple years ago, and it's just taken them a long time to finally get this one out. But I like this one. It was a blind buy. I had never seen it before, but I've been on a William Friedkin kick lately, and collecting his movies in 4K. So I figured I'd grab this one as well. And then of course it's got Michael Biehn in it. of course, Kyle Reese from Terminator and Hicks from Aliens. So I've also been kind of on a Michael Biehn kick and collecting Michael Biehn movies. So I just had to get this one and add it to the collection. But I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't call this an overtly horror film. This is really more of a thriller. I mean, there is some blood in it and there's some killing and whatnot. But yeah, it doesn't really play like a horror film as much. It plays more like a legal like courtroom thriller. Right. I mean, it's about a serial killer and they're trying to nail this guy and get him the death penalty. And this serial killer is pretty brutal. So it's got some elements of horror, but it really doesn't play like a horror film as much as it does like a legal courtroom thriller. But I had a good time with it. I thought it was a good movie, and I'm glad I added it to the collection. Of course, I've never seen it before, so I can't compare this, the 4K transfer to previous releases, but I thought it looked pretty good on 4K. I mean, it wasn't the most mind-blowing 4K I'd ever seen, but we got lots of nice detail. It's a fairly crisp-looking image and some great colors as well. So, yeah, I enjoyed this one. So, yeah, Rampage on October 26th. Okay, so that about wraps it up for my latest horror watch list update. Let me know what you think of these titles in the comments below, and let me know which movies you've been watching during this time as well. I always love chatting with you guys and interacting with you guys and hearing from you in the comments, so make sure you leave me some feedback below. Now, I will be doing one more horror watch list update video later this week. It'll be out on Halloween, so keep your eyes open for that one. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.